Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this week's episode, we're taking another day trip, this time to the small town of Uchiko. Here we'll explore a functioning Kabuki Theatre, wander the preserved Old Town, and learn what made this area prosperous at an old merchant residence. We also can't forget the unexpected experience waiting for us on our return to Matsuyama. Before we get into it, please do us a favor and give the video a like. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's go. We've dragged ourselves kicking and screaming out of our ryokan this morning.
I think it was more rolling and screaming.
Yeah. The meals are very filling, eh?
They are.
But we have a quick day trip we want to do. This could be a longer day trip, but we're going to make it a short day trip because we want to come back and relax. This is one of our relaxation stays here these 2 nights. So we need to get back here.
It's an emergency that we relax.
Yeah. And we're at the Dogo Onsen station, the tram station, and everything here is very cutesy, eh?
It's cutesy, yes. That's a good description.
Yeah, yesterday we caught their special clock. Check it out. And their station here, I feel, has been refreshed or changed or rebuilt or something since we were last here in 2009.
They definitely had the old-fashioned, old-timey look going for them back in 2009, but I think this just has a new coat of paint and just a little bit of updating.
But it's still very cutesy, very cute little station, and definitely what's tipping me off to it's being refreshed is the fact there's a Starbucks in it now. There was definitely no Starbucks in 2009, but there is now. So if you need to get your Starbucks, you can get it here at the tram station. When we come back from the day trip, we'll try and meander our way back to the ryokan so we can show you the area here around the tram station and Dogo Onsen. But for now, we gotta hop on the tram to get over to the station to catch our train to where we're going for our day trip.
Welcome to Uchiko!
Yes, we just got off the train here at this little town. It wasn't too far from Matsuyama, only 25 minutes by limited express train. And there are 3 key things that brought us out here that look really interesting. One's a Kabuki Theatre, one is a residence where we're gonna learn about the history of this little town and the commerce that kind of grew it up. And there's a history museum, a little history museum we can go check out. Let's start our walking tour of this little town. One of the things I really love about coming out to smaller towns, not only are they quiet, but everything's a little bit smaller and more laid back. The train station here is just a cute little train station tucked underneath the tracks, and it's like 1 or 2 platforms and only 1 gate, 1 station agent. Completely different feel than what we've been experiencing in Tokyo for the first 4 weeks of this trip to Japan. I love getting out to the country and experiencing that. So let's make our way to our first stop. Our first stop today is a functioning Kabuki Theatre. This is where you come to watch the traditional form of Japanese theater known as Kabuki. Thought to have started in the early years of the Edo period, it's known for elaborate costumes, striking makeup, and its stylized drama played out through exaggerated actions by the performers. This is a beautiful example of a classic Kabuki theater with its classic tile rooflines, striking dark wood, and a series of prints depicting scenes from Kabuki performances. Inside the theater plays an important part in the performance, and there's supposedly some hidden things in here that we can check out. Let's get in there and explore. Before we start exploring the theater, let's give a little bit of a history lesson on it.
Well, they built it in 1915 and it was completed in 1916.
I can imagine this being a very important place for the community to come and gather and get together and watch some theater.
Yeah, they said that it was like a place for spiritual and cultural sustenance at that time because there was nothing very much to do.
Yeah, and it's still functioning today, but it went through a period where it almost was lost, right?
Yeah, in the 1970s it fell into complete dilapidation and they were going to tear it down because it was hazardous, and the townspeople said no, 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 and they came together and rallied and had the theater restored.
Yeah, and it's amazing now. They have, what, 60 performances a year now? It was finished, its restoration in the 80s, so that's great. It's still seeing success to this day.
It has visitor success too. It pulls in 50,000 visitors annually.
Wow, I can believe it because there's a lot of people coming to see it today. We're both a little bit shocked.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot more popular than the castle we were at yesterday. We would have thought the opposite.
Yeah.
If you want to check out that video on the castle that we went to, it's up here. That was actually 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a massive castle. There was a lot of people there. But yeah, this is really cool. So let's go and explore a little bit. There's some of the features of the Kabuki Theatre and how it operates that we're able to see. Let's go take a look. Off to the side of the main stage is a platform in the floor here, and this is where they would raise certain actors playing ninjas or ghosts, things that would come up and surprise the crowd and distract them from what's actually happening on the main stage, so things could be changed up on the main stage. Apparently we can see how this works when we go down below. While ninjas and ghosts are popping up off on the side of the main stage can actually be changed and repositioned, or new sets can be brought out, and that's done by a revolving platform. It's like a huge Lazy Susan embedded in the stage, and it can rotate around 360 degrees. So I guess they could drop down the curtains and rotate things, or half the stage can be covered by curtains and things can be set up behind them and then rotated out front. And I'm standing sort of about halfway along the platform now, and you can see this curtain here can be drawn right across, and that would leave the front of the stage exposed and the back here hidden. I'm expecting we can see how this works when we go down under the stage as well. Right off the side of the stage is a little room with a drum in it and two drumming things, sticks, drumsticks, there you go. And this is where the person playing the drums would be able to sit and watch the performance, look out into the crowd, and time his beats to the drum appropriately for the performance going on. I'm not sure if they'd actually play music here or if this would be mostly for sound effects and for effect, really. This is really neat that you can get right up into it, and I don't see any signs that we're allowed to hit it, so I'm going to shy away from that for now. But if we do find someone we can ask, we'll be right back here hitting this thing. At the Kabuki Theatre here, you're able to go down below under the stage and get to see how some of these things we showed you up above actually work. We're standing right beside the rotating platform, so we can get a view of the wheels and the tracks that it sits on and the huge concrete pillar in the middle where it pivots. We're just at the very edge of it here. You can see these massive casters. And the concrete pillar in the middle here is where it spins around. The light's not so great. Wow, that must take some muscle to actually spin it and move the whole platform from down here. Let's see what else we can find. I found the trapdoor down here where they shoot ninjas and ghosts up off to the side of the stage that we showed you from up above. The contraption's really neat how it works, and it must take a bit of muscle to move a whole human up through the trapdoor and up to the stage level. There's a YouTube video that they have a link here to that I will put down below, so you can go check that out if you want to see them demonstrating it, but I'll give you a little quick synopsis of how this works. This is one handle of the platform, and it goes right across to the other side, so there'd be people on either side of this raising and lowering the platform. They push up this a little bit to raise it off of this thing here, which pulls out and allows us to drop right down this track to the floor. then somebody would hop onto it here and they would push it back up the track and put the stopper back into place. That's pretty neat. I'd way rather be the person being hoisted up than the one doing the hoisting. You look extremely uncomfortable.
I am not comfortable, and I've only been sitting here for about 5 minutes. I cannot imagine sitting through an entire hour, 2-hour show in this position. So as you can see, these seats are very, very different from the seats that we're used to in North America or Europe. Definitely no velvet. Definitely, well, there's not even a chair. It's just a very low bench on the ground. I think that it'd probably be pretty tight as well. So you get to know your neighbors very well. And yeah, I definitely think that I would not make it, and it's time to end this segment of the video. We got permission. It's been confirmed. We're allowed to do this.
We were just heading for the door when Nicole said to me, the ceiling was amazing in there, eh? And then I said, what ceiling? I didn't look up at the ceiling, and I went back in to take a look, and yeah, it is really amazing. Really cool woodworking skills were needed to build that ceiling. If you come here, don't forget to look up when you're wandering around inside the theater.
Wow, that was so high on the cool factor.
That totally exceeded my expectations. Yeah. I really enjoyed exploring that, and I didn't realize we'd be able to go down under the stage and be able to see how the platform and the ninja ghost hatch works. That's
I like
really
being
neat.
On stage.
Yeah, the drum was an extra bonus as well. That was fun.
Yeah, and the craftsmanship with all the woodwork, I just really loved being in there.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they banded together and saved this place, and they didn't just let it get ripped down and replaced by housing or something like that.
Oh my god, a condo.
Yeah, that's really neat. So we're off to our next spot. That was unexpected.
Yes, that was a museum incognito.
Yeah, we were just walking along the street and this museum popped out of nowhere.
It was hiding in plain sight.
This is your kind of museum.
It definitely is.
This is depicting life as it would have been in the 1912 to 1926 time frame.
Yeah.
This is a shopkeeper. I think it's a pharmacy.
Yep, it used to be it used to belong to the Sando family, and they ran the pharmacy here, and inside it shows everyday life behind the scenes of the pharmacy and in front of the scenes.
I really like the storehouse they had upstairs.
Yes.
And did you notice the bank of drawers built underneath the stairs going upstairs?
Yeah.
That's crazy use of space.
Yeah.
But they did a really good job for this free museum that you could just pop into on your way to where we're going next. Another draw of this town, Uchiko, is the actual town itself. They have an old town, well preserved, and it looks spectacular. They've done a lot of work to maintain this area and keep it looking tip-top, and it really shows that they've put that effort in. Another thing to look for when you come here is the lack of something, and that is wires. In most towns you go to in Japan, they've got telephone poles everywhere and wires running from building to building, and it really kind of ruins the aesthetics. But here, they've prevented that. They haven't had to resort to putting up telephone poles and running wires everywhere. So it helps maintain a very nice aesthetic, and everything comes together to give you that old feel. Like this is how it used to be when it was in its heyday. I was just telling YouTube about the old town, how spectacular it is. What do you think?
It's amazing, this old town. I wasn't expecting this at all, but I guess other people in the know about it, because you will find there are droves, I'm not exaggerating, droves of artists here, and they all have their canvas set up or watercolor, oil paintings. Everybody here is painting this town in different perspectives because, and I can see why.
Yeah, it's
perfect.
Super picturesque, and all the buildings are so old school and well maintained. It's really an amazing place to wander, and you can also find a lot of restaurants and shops along this street. So you can meander down the street, visiting all the residences, going into shops, picking up some souvenirs, and then when you get hungry, you just no shortage of places to go grab a bite. So it's a really great place to come spend a day or half a day.
Yeah, I feel really lucky that we got a chance to just stumble upon it. Our last stop of the day in Uchiko is the Japanese Wax Museum and the Kamihaga Residence. So it's two attractions built into one. The idea is that you get to see how the people in Uchiko produced wax back in the early 1900s, and also gives you an idea of how the wealthy family Kamigas lived at that time.
Yeah, I mean, wax production was a huge industry here in this area, and a lot of people made a lot of money off of producing wax. This residence looks pretty big. It cost us 500 yen each to get in. We better make a move and start checking it out because we got to get back to the train station. The first thing we've come across in the residence here is the kitchen. And at the peak of their wax production, when everything was really humming, there'd be 20 to 30 workers doing whatever they had to be doing to support the household here in the kitchen. This would have been between 1868 and 1912. The residence is built in such a way that there's a courtyard and there's a beautiful garden in the courtyard. Behind me is a single level of hallway and rooms, and they're only one room deep. So every room here in this wing of the residence would have courtyard view. They could look at the garden when they're doing whatever they're doing in their rooms. The garden also has a little shrine.
Michael, didn't you say you needed to use the facilities?
Yes. Oh. No, I'm good.
Actually, there's a sign that says not for use. I don't know who would try to use a washroom in a museum that's clearly an exhibit, but apparently people have tried in the past.
The wax museum they have here behind the main residence is in a very modern looking building with an old school feel. It's really quite a nice building, but the exhibit is the star of the show here. It's really well put together. They do a really great job of explaining how they were producing wax back in the late 1800s into the early 1900s. It also details how they sort of unlocked the potential of this area's product through a world fair that took place in Paris. And that was when their white wax, which was highly valued, very high quality white wax, started to be distributed through companies in Kobe, mostly to Europe it sounds like. And there they were using the wax to create candles and hair wax, stationery products, different types of cosmetics and makeup. And you get to see all of that here in the exhibit they've put together. And it's very accessible to English speakers because all the information is in both Japanese and English. So don't miss the wax museum out back behind the actual main residence.
I love all the dioramas they have to show how the wax was made back in the day. They had 97 employees or workers gathering and producing the wax. And a lot of the work that is done by hand looks extreme. And I don't think that I would have lasted very long in the wax making industry.
One of the things that stands out to me on the main floor here of the main building and also of the corridors and the rooms around the courtyard outside is how many tatami mats there are. That really is a good indication of just how wealthy this family really was, how much wax they were able to move and sell, because tatami is generally a status symbol, right? The more tatami you had,
yes,
the wealthier you were. So that's something to keep an eye out for when you're traveling around Japan and you're looking at these old houses. Just how much tatami did they have? We're up on the second floor of the residence here, and it's rather bare. It's really open. It looks a bit unusual.
Well, it's bare because originally they had planned to build 6 more rooms up here for the next generation. Unfortunately, the second in line, the son was not into expanding the home, and then the third in line, that son died of tuberculosis. So there was really kind of no need to build any more rooms.
Wow, so they just left it unfinished, which makes for a really amazing space though, really nice and open. And the wind is blowing through right now, and I can imagine that wouldn't be happening if there was a whole bunch of walls up here. You're able to get up to the 3rd floor of this residence, which gives you an interesting glimpse at how they constructed the roof structures of these buildings. I'm pretty shocked at how rough the timber is up here. It basically just looks like trees that they had cut down and shaved down a little bit, but they're still very much looking like trees, and they're huge beams holding up the roof and all the structure that supports some of the walls down below. It's really an interesting view. I don't see this too often. This has been a really great stop. I really enjoyed the wax museum. It's really interesting to see how they produced wax. I really didn't know much about that. But then also to get glimpses into how they were able to sort of lock into the European market and really drove their economic growth here in this area. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I really like the residents and seeing how they lived after they made all their money. When you're talking about the tatami mats, this family produced so much wax that basically the entire family got to live in luxury for the rest of their lives. And when you look around the town and how it's so beautiful, all those buildings were a result of their success. And the reason they were able to build their success was because they had found the magic secret recipe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were able to figure out how to make wax white, which was unheard of at that time. So once they figured out that secret recipe, they were able to go to the Paris World Fair that you had mentioned, and they were able to ride that puppy all the way home.
Ride that wave.
Ride that wave.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They were talking a lot about white wax here and in the other town a couple days ago, and that tied it all together. Good factoid, Nicole. All right, let's head out. I think we have to get back to the train station. Uchiko was such a great day trip.
I loved Uchiko. It was very unexpected because I thought it was going to be smaller. Like I thought everything was going to be on a smaller scale. Like I didn't think that the theater would be as good. I didn't think that the I thought everything wouldn't be as good. Like everything was going to be smaller.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Unexpected was the exact word I was going to use to describe today's trip. I don't think that, what do we have, like 2.5 hours there? I don't think that's enough time.
Yeah.
We could have easily spent the good part of the day exploring Uchiko.
Yeah. I feel like it has a lot to offer.
It does have a lot to offer. I think we hit the main things, the main draws, the theater and that residence and wax museum. Those are the two like really big things that they promote at the tourist office, but there are other residences you could check out.
I think that
some other museums.
Yeah. I would have liked to soaked up the atmosphere of the street more because the street was amazing.
It was.
And we had to walk past it pretty quickly, but I could have just meandered through the streets.
Yeah, and enjoyed that, took some more pictures, took advantage of the fact that there are no wires up strung everywhere. I know I mentioned that probably twice, and I'm mentioning it a third time now, but that's just because that happens so often when you go to Japan. You'll have a town where they're like, this is like an Edo style town and it's very beautiful and picturesque, and then you get there and it is, but there's a lot of wires everywhere and it's really hard to get a clean shot without all these wires in it. So it is a bit rare to find a town that actually has taken that extra step to keep like wires out of the sky. So it is a big deal. I know, that's why I'm harping on it, because that's a big deal.
You know what's a big deal?
What?
That we got back to our ryokan so fast, and look at me. I've already like cleaned myself out and I'm enjoying the place already.
Yeah, I think you last saw us as we were walking back along the main street in Uchiko. Since then, we got on the train. We actually got on the Ampan Man train, right? Yeah. We have seen it several times from here, and I wonder how you get on that train, and it just showed up and you just got on. So that's how you get on it. You just get lucky. And then we came back to the station, took the tram all the way to Dogo Onsen, and something crazy happened to us. Check it out. Nicole and I got completely sucked in by a marketing campaign. Yesterday when we were leaving the arcade, there was a big billboard up showing a commercial for instant ramen. And it was pitting two different types against each other from the same company. There's a red faction and a green faction.
Definitely red!
Green!
Red!
And they're both different. One's udon and one's soba, and they have different toppings. And when we were leaving this morning, we saw that we knew those colors, and we saw something happening related to that on the way to the train station or onto the tram station here. And I was guessing that what they're doing is exactly what they were gonna do, and that is have a taste off. So you can come up here and get a cup of noodle from both and try it. And that's what we have done.
Is it weird that I'm already partial to the red and I haven't tried the green?
Maybe.
I think it's the marketing. I like the guy square. Okay, it's no longer square anymore. I kind of had a few bites before the camera started rolling. But this square thing is super tasty.
I really like the thinner, denser noodles than the udon. Udon's too mushy for me. I like this one. This one's really good. I don't know what flavors these are, but the topping is also a little bit more interesting. Yours is good too because it's sweet. It has a bit of sweetness, but I like this one with the different chunks in it.
Just notice that you're eating free ramen in front of amazing structure behind you.
Can't get better than this. And now we have to go vote for our favorite ones. I have a feeling that we are both on opposing sides on this one. That was kind of fun.
That was very fun. We got carried away.
Yeah, we had just got off the tram, went to Lawson's to get a snack because we didn't feel like going out for lunch. We just wanted to come back here and enjoy this amazing ryokan that we've decided to check into, get our money's worth out of this place. And so we went into a Lawson's to grab some snacks for lunch, and then we turned the corner and then we ended up having free instant noodles.
Can't say no to free.
No, but that was really fun.
It was.
It was really crazy that we saw that marketing campaign yesterday and then that happened today. So here we are, you're all caught up. We're back at the ryokan. We have dinner tonight at 7:30 and you're gonna go take a nap. I'm gonna go onsen and we're gonna enjoy this amazing ryokan in Dogo Onsen. We mentioned that we stopped in at Lawson's to pick up a snack, and I'm actually going to eat my snack now. What I grabbed was a sandwich, or otherwise known as a Sando here in Japan. And I've been meaning to try one of these for a while because I've seen lots of people on YouTube eating these and raving about the sandwiches you can get at the convenience stores here. So this one here is this looks like there's 3 different sandwiches in here. What really drew me was the egg. This is one of the ones I've seen on YouTube and it looks pretty good to me. It's like an egg salad, but then there's like big chunks of egg in there. And when I would make an egg salad, it would be very fine. I wouldn't leave like half an egg or big chunks of egg so you can see yolk like that. So that's kind of alluring to me. And then it looks like there's a ham piece of, like a ham sandwich in here, and then something at the end. But those two are inconsequential. I want to try the egg. So let's bust open this Sando. As with onigiri, they have instructions right on the packaging. So this is my first time, so hopefully I don't screw this up. Is that it? Nope, it will open even more. There we go, completely exposing the sandwiches so I can pull them out. So I'll pull out the egg one here. So this is a Lawson's version. I'm sure every convenience store makes these and they're all gonna be maybe slightly different. As with most sandwiches here in Japan, the filling is not really spread everywhere. I've noticed this before. trying different types of sandwiches. So let's just eat that up, get rid of that waste. All right. The egg yolk is really deep orange. It's not pale at all like what I get at home. And there is a little bit of egg salad here on the bottom, and then big chunks of egg on the top. You can see how much of the sandwich I had to eat to get rid of the bread. There's a little bit here as well. That is excellent. If you're an egg lover like I am, I think you'll love this sandwich because you get the creamy sort of Western style egg salad in there, and then the egg, if you like hard-boiled eggs, that like intense flavor of egg when you're eating one of those comes through immediately, and then that creaminess from the egg salad kind of comes through after that. It's just too bad that it's so skimpily stuffed. And basically the good stuff is only 2 bites for me. Now I kind of regret eating that first. I should have had these other crappy ones first. All right, next up is the ham. I think it's ham. Again, pretty skimpy. Some kind of sauce in here, a little bit of ham, and some lettuce. I'll just eat up the bread. All right, that's what we're left with. The lettuce gives it a really good crunch. That's a bit surprising. And the sauce, I think, is a mayo, mustard, and maybe sweet onion, like a roasted onion kind of sauce. It's very tasty. And the ham kind of does not shine in this sandwich. The lettuce and the sauce kind of overpower it. But it is good. I am not going to complain about that sandwich. That's actually pretty good. The last sandwich, the mystery sandwich. It's tuna fish. It's tuna fish salad. This covers the bread a little bit more. They've spread it out just a little bit farther to the edges. It's not as concentrated in the center as the other two. Definitely like canned tuna, mayo, and maybe a little bit of mustard in there. It's got a bit of tang that is not like pickle, more like mustard. Least favorite out of the 3. Egg, ham, tuna fish. But I'm quite impressed with the sandwich out of the Lawson. This was only 250 yen, 248, which is about 370 maybe Canadian. It's not bad. It's pretty good. After many dips in our private onsen, dinner time finally arrived, and we had to come down to the restaurant here at the Ryokan for our Kaiseki meal of the evening. Kaiseki is a traditional Japanese multi-course meal, and we love sharing them with you.
If you've watched our channel, you've seen that we've had many of them in the past. That's one of our favorite things to eat when we're in Japan. It's kind of the opposite of comfort food. For us, we like to eat like a baked cheese with like tomato sauce, or pasta, or congee, just comfort food.
Something heavy.
Yeah, this is the opposite. So this is considered Japanese high cuisine or haute couture cuisine, and it's an adventure in dining because you don't know what you're eating most of the time. You're guessing most of the items you've never seen before, and you're just kind of pushing yourself to try new things. For example, I have a lotus root that's been battered, and each of the holes has been stuffed with something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we will share our dinner with you, but we just love the adventure.
So kaiseki is known to be very intricate and ornate and be comprised of lots of little mini dishes. So it's multiple courses, and many courses are little tiny amuse-bouches, so to speak. Our first course, which is the appetizer, has lots of little dishes on there. Nicole shared with you the lotus root, which does look really interesting, how they filled the holes. I'm gonna share one thing from this with you, and that is the octopus. This looks kind of gnarly to me. I think what we'll do tonight is share with you things that are pushing us outside our comfort zone. So let me get some of this octopus going. I do like octopus. I like octopus sushi. That's probably the majority of the ways I would eat octopus is just on sushi. But this one here just looks a little bit more ambitious to me. You can see the suction cups or whatever they're called on it still, and I don't know, that freaks me out a little bit. So let's give it a try and see how it is. Oh, it's much more tender than I was expecting. Usually octopus, even on like sushi, is quite rubbery at times, and they have to really cut it thin and be careful how they prepare it, but this is quite a thick piece and it's still very, very tender. It has a bit of a fishy flavor, but it's not overpowering. I really like this actually. I think Nicole said she really liked the octopus and was probably hoping I didn't so she could have my second piece, but I think I'm gonna be polishing this off. Sorry, Nicole.
I tried a number of things on my amuse-bouche dish that I knew I was gonna like. And now there's this thing. For me, this is challenging because it's purple. I generally don't like blue or purple foods. It's gelatinous. Really don't like gelatinous foods. And it's so sticky. Taste-wise, it doesn't have much of a taste. The texture is as challenging as I thought it was going to be. So I think I'll be putting this piece down. But that's one of the really fun things I like about having a meal like this, because sometimes I've picked up things that I think that definitely not gonna like, and it ends up being exquisite. It ends up being like one of like the happiest moments of on my tongue. So I'm gonna plow on and let's see what Mike is up to. It's me. I'm back for the third course. We're breaking the rule on this one because we know that this isn't a challenge. This is a soba tofu with miso topping. But when she set it down in front of me, I was very underwhelmed. I was like, this is a square piece of tofu with some miso that you blobbed on top. And then I had a bite. Oh my god. It's magic tofu and magic miso. This miso is so smooth and so flavorful. It goes so well with the tofu that doesn't taste like tofu at all because the texture is like buttered cream. So just think buttered cream and super, super fine miso. Oh my god, this is such a good dish.
Nicole was not exaggerating on that tofu. That was spectacular. That was a dish I did not want to end. I wanted 3 of those portions. It was really, really good. The miso was such a deep flavor, like a nice roasted deep flavor, and it perfectly accentuated that tofu. It's so good. And our next course, again, is something that we're breaking the rules with. Maybe that was just a dumb rule. Only showing you things that challenge us because many things don't challenge us. But this is a soup, and I'm not quite sure what this middle piece is. It kind of looks like a cube of rice kind of mashed together, but we'll bite into it and see. Well, there's also little rounds of cucumber and carrot, which have been sort of cut like donuts. They cut out the centers. That's interesting. So delicate. This is actually mochi. So it's not a rice cube. Well, it kind of is rice. Mochi is pounded out rice, but this is a mochi cube. But it's not your typical mochi. It hasn't been pounded to that smooth consistency you would normally associate with mochi. It's still quite lumpy. There's still some coarseness to it. That's really good. It kind of reminds me of a porridge, like very light porridge flavor. Wow, that's excellent. Our next course came and we're gonna break the rule again. It's just too spectacular to not show you. The next dish totally shocked me. It's our sashimi course, but what I didn't realize was the fan pattern on the plate is not actually the plate, which I originally thought. It's thinly slices of sashimi. Very, very thinly sliced sashimi. That's incredible. The skill required to do something like that is very high, obviously. So the chef knows what he's doing here at this ryokan. I'm gonna try a little piece here. The soy sauce that they have given us to go with it is a ponzu based soy sauce. Ponzu is a citrus fruit from this area, and it complements this fish really, really well. I'm not quite sure how to describe the flavor of the fish. It's a clean kind of white fish flavor that just takes up that ponzu flavor very well. Very, very good dish. I can't believe that I thought that was the plate. Here's a course that I've had many times, a whole fish like this size or smaller, and having to get it off the bone and whatnot. I find that a bit challenging. So we're back on track. If we found something else that's a little bit challenging for me to hit up. Nicole will be a pro at this. So let's take a look at how to get some of this meat off here, or at least the way I do it. So the fact that his head and tail are here is not a problem. Used to that by now. There's his fin. It's more about how to get the meat off, because he's completely intact here. So I just tend to try and pick away from the bones and pull off some meat like that. You can see there's his rib cage. So you can just sort of go along the rib cage, sort of pulling it along off the rib cage. So the trick is to find his rib cage. So let's see if we can get this chunk off here. That's getting in the way. And you just want to sort of delicately pull down the bones so you don't get all the bones in with your meat. I think I failed on this one. There's definitely some bones here. But there you go. But the more you can go along with the bones and just sort of gently pull the meat off like that, the less bones you'll get. And let's try the meat. This kind of a fish cooked like this, sort of in juice, steamed, is always very delicate and nice and soft. It's got a soy sauce based sauce on there. And it's very subtle, which is allowing the fish to come through. And it's a good fish flavor. This is really good. This one is definitely not a challenge. Well, the only challenge here is that there's so little beef. They should have brought out a basket of this beef. This is looking really good, and I'm really excited to do this. So we have a flaming pot. We have our meat course, and it is really, really well marbled beef and a hot stone to cook it on. So let me show you how we do this. It's really quite easy, actually. We take a piece of beef, and we put it on the hot stone. And then we just let it cook until our desired doneness. I like to render as much of the fat as possible so it's as juicy as possible. And then we have two sauces. We have a salty sauce and a sweet sauce. Just a quick bath in the salty sauce. I'm chewing, but I'm chewing very gingerly because it's just falling apart in my mouth. That marbling is incredible, and that wasn't even the most marbled piece. I'm very happy right now. I'm gonna put you down and enjoy this beef.
We have a quick update on the sashimi dish. I suspected it was pufferfish, and we had confirmed with the waitress that it is. And that is absolutely crazy because A, pufferfish is poisonous and can kill you if not prepared properly, and B, it's an incredibly expensive fish to serve or to consume. So, holy moly! I'm not gonna go on camera and share me eating the beef with you because I already ate it all. I just blew through my 5 pieces. So what I'm going to have to share instead is the vegetables. As you know, I do not like vegetables, especially anything green. But this has been cooked in the beef fat. It smells good, and it's the night to eat things that is out of your comfort zone. Green, out of my comfort zone. Oh, it's very hot still. You're gonna have a problem putting steaming hot pieces of beef in my mouth, but vegetables, that's a different story. It tastes fresh and healthy, and like not fatty and rich like the beef. But it's very good. They left the seeds in, so it's a little bit spicy, but it being cooked in the animal fat, the beef fat, makes it really tasty. My eyes nearly popped out of my head when the next course came. It's abalone, and it's a whole abalone, and it's gigantic. I love abalone, and the bigger the abalone, the more expensive it is. And this puppy is big. If you don't know what abalone is, it's basically a sea creature that lives inside its own shell deep in the waters. And I'm not quite sure if this happens most of the time, but from what I know, in order to collect the abalone, somebody actually has to like dive down to the ocean and grab each piece. It's not like something like, you know, you just go to the water and you stick a net in and fish it out. Somebody has to go down and retrieve the abalone. So I am very excited. So this is one of 4 or 5 pieces that's in my abalone shell. Actually, the first thing I taste is onion. So I think he was taken out of his shell and sauteed with sweet onion, and soy sauce and butter. And now the abalone taste is coming out. The texture is similar to maybe octopus or squid, but better, if that makes sense. This is so good. The abalone is good, and the way they prepared it is good.
The last course before dessert is the rice course, and this one came with some sashimi and also raw egg. So there's egg yolk that you're supposed to pour over your sashimi along with some soy sauce, and that is a little bit challenging to me because I don't super like raw egg sauces, but let's give it a try. I've put some of the sashimi on my rice as directed, and next is to pour some of this egg on top, and then to pour some of the soy sauce. The camera is now flashing that there's no more space left on the memory card, so let me try this quickly before it stops. It's a very firm fish, very firm sashimi, and the egg gives it a creaminess that I wasn't super expecting. I'm still not sure if I'm a huge fan, but it's not as bad as I was expecting. It's actually starting to grow on me. So hopefully there's a bit more room left to get dessert. Unfortunately, we did run out of space to record dessert and just went upstairs and collapsed after dinner. Thanks so much for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed coming on a day trip to Uchiko with us. If you enjoyed the video, let us know by giving it a like down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. We'll see you next week.